Hey everybody, Mr. Kindel here to read you a story today. It's kind of special to me. It's called Silas's 7 Grandparents. Kind of special to me because I am actually, besides Mr. Kindel, I'm also Uncle Dan to my nephew named Silas. So I hope he enjoys the book as much as you guys do. Silas's 7 Grandparents. Most of the time, Silas liked having 7 grandparents. Most of the time, having 7 grandparents made Silas feel especially loved, times 7. Parents baked birthday cakes and one bought an ice cream cake. But sometimes Silas couldn't eat all his cake. After all, I only have one stomach, said Silas. Silas's 7 grandparents came to his hockey games. 5 grandparents cheered and 2 coached the team. But sometimes 7 grandparents couldn't fit in the dressing room. After all, I only have one pair of skates to lace, said Silas. Silas's 7 grandparents helped take care of Silas when he was sick. 1 rubbed his back, 2 fed him chicken soup, and 4 sang softly to him. But sometimes 7 grandparents traipsing in and out made all too much commotion. After all, I only want to sleep, said Silas. Silas's 7 grandparents took him on outings over the July long weekend. 2 took him camping, 2 took him to the dog show, 2 took him to the dinosaur museum, and 1 rode the roller coaster with him at the amusement park. Sometimes Silas couldn't keep up with his 7 grandparents. After all, I'm only one small boy, said Silas. And when Silas's mom and dad decided to go away for a few days on a business trip, 7 grandparents invited Silas to come stay with them. Come stay with me, Silas, said Nana. Silas's Nana was a scientist. She lived in a loft in the city. Her ceiling looked like the night sky. We'll go to the planetarium and sleep on the roof. I need you to help me count shooting stars. Every night at bedtime, Silas made a wish on the star Nana hung above his bed especially for him. Come stay with us, said Oma and Opa. Silas's Oma and Opa grew all kinds of good things to eat in their market garden. The Saskatoons, raspberries, and strawberries are ripe. We need you to help bake bumbleberry pies and build a doghouse for Laddie's 5 new puppies. Every night at bedtime, Silas filled the bird feeder outside his window, the one Opa had made especially so the birds would visit him in the morning. Then he snuggled into his quilt, the one Oma had made especially to keep him warm. Come stay with us, said Grandma and Papa. Silas's Grandma and Papa live by the golf course. You can swim in the pool and play golf with us. We need you to drive the golf cart. Every night at bedtime, Silas's father read him a story from the book Grandma and Papa had sent him, the one they chose especially to give him sweet dreams. Come stay with us, said Granny and Granddad. Silas's Granny and Granddad lived by a lake in the foothills. We'll take you to a powwow and go fishing and canoeing. We need you to help us paddle. Every night at bedtime, Silas twirled the dream catcher Granny and Granddad had given him, the one especially made to keep the bad dreams away. I can't stay with all 7 grandparents at the same time, said Silas. You'll have to choose, his mother said. Your grandparents know you can't be everywhere at once. After all, there's only one Silas. That night, Silas couldn't sleep. He was still awake when the moon drifted by his window. The man in the moon peeked into Silas's room. Moonbeams played hide and seek in his bird feeder. Moonbeams streamed across his storybook and danced in and out of his dream catcher. Moonbeams twinkled off of his star, so that glimmers of light tumbled all over his bed quilt. And wrapped in a glittering hug from his head to his toes, Silas felt especially loved, times 7. Silas laughed. Thank you, he said to the man in the moon. You've given me an especially good idea. The next morning, Silas colored and painted. He cut, he glued, and he glittered. He printed and folded and stamped. Then he mailed his especially good idea to his 7 grandparents. On the day his parents left on their business trip, Silas waited on his front porch. Soon Oma and Opa's truck chugged up to the house. Hello, Silas, called Oma and Opa. Behind them, Granny and Granddad's camper swung into the driveway. Hey, partner, called Granny and Granddad. Grandma and Papa beeped their car horn as they parked out front. Hi, Silas, said Grandma and Papa. Finally, Nana rode up on her bicycle. Hola, Silas, called Nana with a grin. Silas's parents ran outside to see what all the hubbub was about. What on earth, they said. I can't stay with all 7 grandparents at the same time, said Silas, but all 7 grandparents can stay with me. So they did. 7 grandparents took care of Silas while his parents were away. On the first day, 7 grandparents baked bumbleberry pies and built a doghouse mansion with Silas. On the second day, 7 grandparents swam in the pool and rode golf carts with Silas. On the third day, 7 grandparents danced at a powwow, fished and paddled canoes with Silas. And on the last day, 7 grandparents went to the planetarium and stayed up late to count shooting stars with Silas. But sometimes 7 grandparents weren't enough to keep up with one Silas. After all, whispered Silas as he tucked them in, I'm especially loved times 7. Hope you enjoy spending time with your grandparents as much as Silas enjoys spending time with his. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye. And hi, Silas.